Hey, welcome back to Starfish Coaching and Designers Business Academy. I'm Eric Lee, and today I want to continue my Business for Interior Designer series, and let's get right to it for those of you who are thinking about starting your own interior design business. I'm going to give you 8 steps on how to do exactly that. Okay, so it seems like being an interior designer is getting more and more popular. More and more people are thinking about being an interior designer. So there's a lot of questions out there as how do you even start your own interior design business? Well, I'm going to give you 8 steps on how to do exactly that. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so number 1 is research and education. You have to first learn how to be an interior designer. And there's really 2 parts to this step. 1, you either can choose to be a self-taught interior designer. Some people do have a natural talent for design and colors and materials. If you choose to be self-taught, then you're going to have to expect to be learning things on the way. So it's going to be a much longer path for you. And if you choose that, I would say follow designers that you like, study what they're doing, absorb the spaces that you're in, and just be very curious. That's how you can be that. And what I'll do is I'll make another video on how to be a self-taught interior designer if that's what you're interested in. Now the second part is to go and get an education in interior design. This is something I would probably recommend that you do because it shortcuts your learning curve a lot more. Depending on what type of design you want to do, if you're talking about just furniture selections, decor, colors, that kind of stuff, okay, that's gonna be a much easier path if you want to do self-taught. But if you want to be like an interior architect, for instance, that does hotels and restaurants, those get a lot more complicated. So if you want that to be your path, I would definitely recommend that you go and get some education. There's certificate programs which are 6 to 10 months. There are diploma programs which typically are 2 months. And there are degree programs which are maybe 4 to 5 years. So check out your design colleges and universities to see what they offer. There's many all around North America, so I'm sure you'll find one. One more thing I'd like to note about having formal education in the interior design field is that some states and provinces might need you to be certified. The North American certification is called NCIDQ. So that may be required in certain states to practice as an interior designer, and some jobs will require that. For instance, if you're bidding on a government job, they might require that you be an NCIDQ certified designer. Okay, so step number 2 is to go and get your business set up legally so that you can legally practice in interior design in your city or your state. And I have another video that talks about that in my YouTube channel that you can search out. One other thing that you want to do legally is make sure that you get E&O insurance. E&O insurance is errors and omission. As an interior designer, you will probably make mistakes and there will be lawsuits along the way if you're in business long enough. So you want to avoid that as much as possible and get protected. So E&O insurance is to protect you from making any errors and omissions. So you can talk to your insurance agent about that. Step 3 for your business, if you're serious about your business, I would highly recommend that you do a business plan and financial forecast. If this is just a part-time hobby for you, maybe you're selecting the odd color and furnishing and it's very minimal, okay, that's fine. You might be able to get away with it, but anything else, I highly recommend that you do a business plan and a financial forecast. What it does is it forces you to think about your business thoroughly so that you can plan it out. The example I like to give is you're basically designing your house and drawing the blueprint before you go and build it. If you jump right into business, you're like building it and you're designing as you go, which is never efficient. So a business plan forces you to really think about all the aspects of your business so that you can plan it out and be ready for it. A lot of business people go into business without really planning that out and thinking about their estimated sales and their expenses and all that stuff. So doing financial forecasts forces you to do that and plan it well. So if you're going to take your business seriously, that's something I would recommend. I would recommend that you forecast for not just 1 year, but 2 years, because usually in the first 2 years of any business, you're not profitable. So you want to be planning for that and making sure you have enough cash and doing enough sales and marketing to bring the income in that you'll need. Step 4 is to discover your niche and your target audience. If you do the business plan, you'll probably go through this, but if you don't, do at least this, which is to discover what your niche is and who your target audience is. Because when you do marketing and when you do promotions for your business, you're going to get a much more targeted marketing campaign if you understand that. So what this is you have to choose what your niche is in interior design. There's many aspects of interior design, all the way from selecting furniture, colors, draperies, and that's it, to the very extreme and heavy and complicated interior architecture where you're designing hotels and restaurants, and there's a lot more technicality to it. So that's a wide spectrum. So you want to know, okay, where is it that you like to practice? And then also what type of projects? There's a wide variety of that. Commercial or residential. So there's a whole bunch of project types out there. And then residential, there's renovations, small renovations like a bath and a kitchen, large whole home renovations. So you have to decide for yourself, okay, what niche is it that I'm going after? Because then you can focus in on your target market. And I actually have another video in my YouTube channel that talks about the different niches to help you boil it down. Now, one thing to note is if you are new to the interior design industry and you haven't had any experience, you may take a little bit of time to discover what project types you like, and that's okay. But I would still recommend that you niche down a little bit, at least not from the all general, like I'll do anything interior design related. That's way too general. How are you going to advertise? Are you going to be talking to business owners, or are you going to be talking to homeowners? And are you talking to restaurant owners or hotel owners if it's commercial? So by picking a niche, even if you're not specific, come down a little bit and decide if you're going to be doing new home, renovations, commercial. That will really help to define the next thing I'm talking about, which is your target audience. You need to understand your target audience because you need to know who you're talking to, right? Imagine you doing a marketing campaign or even just a social media feed. People relate to those that are speaking to them. A general message is not going to be well received. So I'd rather you know who you're talking to, get that message very targeted so that you can attract their attention. There's so many people competing for eyeballs and attention in the social media world that you really need to get very good at your marketing message. So if you pick new home interior design to be your market, then build a target audience around that. Ask yourself, okay, who is this? So that you know how to approach them. And that's defining your target audience. So that would be understanding their geography, which means which city do they live in, their psychographics, which means how they think, their buying behaviors, their demographics, which is their age and their household income. So all of that is important to define your target audience because you want a focused marketing message. So the better you understand your target market and your niche project, the more effective and target your marketing message will be. Okay, then step 5 is to build your digital storefront. What do I mean by that? Design is a service-based business. Therefore, your storefront is your webpage and your social media profiles. So set that up. Make sure that your webpage is set up where there's portfolio photos for sure, call to action friendly. You always want people to act on the next step, whether it's giving you a call, giving you a free consultation, whatever that is, make sure it's CTA ready. And then for your social media, what I would recommend here is pick a channel where your audience lives. So for instance, if you've picked a niche of commercial design, then you might want to be on LinkedIn because that's where businesses are. If you picked renovations, then you might want to be on Instagram. If you picked a older demographic, then you might choose to be on Facebook because that's where the older demographics are. So that's an example of picking your social media that's right for your target market. Okay, so step 6 to setting up your interior design business is to get the software that you need. So depending on what type of interior design you do, then that will dictate what software you need. If you're doing actual design work and not just selecting furniture and such, you may need SketchUp and AutoCAD. Now, that's Windows-based. If you're PC, then it's different, but you need some CAD program where you can be drafting the blueprints and the floor plans. And other software that you may need is presentation software. So that could be Keynote if you're on Mac, PowerPoint if you're on Windows, or InDesign if you want a bit more control over your graphics. If you like to sketch and you don't want to do on paper and you have a tablet with a pen, then look into also sketching software like Adobe Sketch or AutoCAD Sketchbook Pro. And then finally, if you are planning to do the bookkeeping yourself, which I probably don't recommend you to do, and I'll tell you why in another video, but if you are planning to do it yourself, then you'll need to look into some bookkeeping software. And even if you contracted out the bookkeeping, which I do recommend you to do, you still need to keep a software version on your own office computer. So getting that would be very handy. And this could be like QuickBooks or other accounting softwares. Okay, so step 7 is to decide on your rates. Now, I can't give you one rate for this step because there's such a wide range. It really depends on a few things. One is what type of interior design you're doing, whether you're selecting furniture and color and draperies, or you're being an interior architect, which is a lot more technical. And it depends on what city. Cities like New York City and LA, and the more dense cities where the cost of living is higher, you can charge for a higher rate. But maybe you're in Alabama or somewhere else where it's a lot more smaller of a town and the living is cheaper, then your rates could be less. And then also it depends on how much experience you have. If you are a new designer coming in, fresh out of school, you're going to be charging a lower rate versus someone who's been at it for 10 years. You can command a higher rate because you've got more experience under your belt. So the range typically out there is between $50 to $500. And if you're a celebrity designer, you can go even more than that. But that's a different story. So I hope that gives you an idea. Set your rate depending on what city you're in, what experience you have, and what type of work you plan to do. I would do some research and maybe call around if you have colleagues, if you have other builders or renovators that know interior designers, you can call around to see what people are charging to get a gauge for what your city is like. And then the other way I would look at it is talk to your Interior Design Institute's association. They can point you in the right direction for what kind of rates are relative to your own city. Okay, the last step for starting your own interior design business is, of course, to get clients. That's step number 8. So getting clients is probably the toughest thing, especially if you are new to the industry. If you've been working for another design firm or been in the design industry for a little bit, you're going to have connections that you network with, and that typically can lead you to some referrals. But if you're new to the industry, that is probably the toughest thing. What I can give you here, I can't dive into deep about it, but what I can give you some tips are to talk to your personal networks. Most likely, your first job will come from your personal network. This could be your family, could be your family's friends, because what's needed for an interior designer to get a job is trust. And in the beginning, if you don't have experience or credibility behind you, then it's going to be hard for customers to trust you. So the only ones that you can get trust and leverage that is with your personal networks. The other thing you can do is go and network. You can go to networking functions like BNI's, Chamber of Commerce. There's many different ways to network to get your word out there. But the key thing for this step is to promote yourself. You need to let people know that you're open for business. Getting your first client is a tough thing, and there's not enough time in this video to do that, but I do have a course for new interior designers trying to set up their business where I dive deep into each one of these items. So if you're curious about it, you can check it out. The link is down in the description below, and it's a great course that covers everything from the initial setup of a business right to different strategies around managing your money and managing your workflow, how to manage clients. So it's a very in-depth course designed to help new interior designers set up their own business in the interior design industry. All right, so I hope you found value in this video and that it can help you get your business started up the right way. If you like this video, please hit the like button and pass it on to other colleagues. Leave me a comment if you got other questions. I'm happy to help. I want to help you get your business started the right way. I'm Eric Lee with Starfish Coaching and Designers Business Academy. I'm here to turbocharge your success.